Good morning and welcome to today's live show. One reason that I have volatility here is I'm really wondering if this thing is going to turn down on this 2-hour chart. Well, something that might help with that is Jerome Powell coming out at 9 a.m. this morning. Well, I guess for some people it might be 10 a.m., but 30 minutes after the open, we will have Jerome Powell out here. Now, something I'm paying attention to is the dollar. This look on the dollar, like so far, we're able to hold this higher low. So we'll see if the dollar can see some upward price action. Just noticing the dollar staying relatively flat, not necessarily continuing to break down as we see the market kind of gapping higher. So at this moment, we do have those daily expected moves for you. I posted those to Patreon. I forgot to post them last night, but here you go. You got them this morning, 560.50 to the upside, and then we have 551.94 to the downside. So still a decently small range. The only thing that's interesting with this is the individual names have more volatility in them. So I think that's very, very interesting to see. This is your range for the overall day, but yesterday we saw something just barely hitting like pretty much right on that daily expected move, kind of closing right on it. So we can pay attention to it. Thank you so much. Happy Friday, that's for sure. And we had a good time. Oh, yeah, that's right. I gotta show you guys my I don't look all scruffy anymore. I got a nice haircut, got a little beard trim going. So we're back to looking good. We're back to looking good and ready to trade good as well. So thank you guys so much for the birthday wishes. It was a great, great day. I couldn't have asked for a better birthday, to be totally honest. Now we have to get right back into the market, though. It doesn't stop. It never stops. So we really have to pay attention to some things. Kind of was hoping as this upward price action was happening that we would see a move from the dollar, but you're noticing here on the 4-hour we have crossed up. We have not crossed back down. On a 2-hour we've crossed up, and you look like you were going to cross back down. Now the dollar is starting to head up overnight, so that's not necessarily something that's absolutely, like, if you just look at how much it's going up, this isn't massive. This could all change by the Jerome Powell speech, so we will be having that on for a little bit. That's another boring Jerome Powell speech where he's probably going to say the same exact things, but hopefully some people ask him about these recent numbers, about unemployment, about the jobs data getting revised. I think all of that would be good since he's really used the jobs data to say that everything's good, we're going to have a soft landing. Well, now what's he going to say? He's going to probably say, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's nothing to worry about. You don't need to worry about that jobs data getting revised down and unemployment going up. But just so you know, most of the time, the cutting of rates is, not even most of the time, it's like every time, the cutting of rates is a bad thing. It means that the economy is slowing. It means that we're heading into recession. It doesn't mean that we can't see a time where people are going, hey, we cut the rates, so therefore we have soft landing and we're all going to celebrate that, and then something bad can happen down the line. So where you really wanted to be worried, I know some people on YouTube, I guess last week, were talking about a 75 basis point cut. That's a crash scenario, guys. That's a crisis scenario right there. 50 basis point cut is also one that's like, hey, we're going pretty quick here. That could really worry people. But 25 basis point was the one that I'm leaning towards, just because that would keep everything decently calm and still have a cut there. So that's, at least from the FOMC, that's what actually ended up happening. According to them, they're going to cut by 25 basis points in September. I kind of thought the people, whoever, I watched just a couple of YouTubers before this Jackson Hole speech this morning, because I was up early this morning. I was watching a couple, and there were people saying there's going to be a 75 basis point cut a couple days ago. And I was just like, if that happens, that means something is breaking, okay? The speed at which they cut is what you really want to react to. So 25 basis point, people can celebrate that. So I think we're maybe going to see some kind of, soft landing euphoria, and the market goes higher. And then eventually, though, that the cutting of rates is going to lead us into recession, just so we're aware. It means there's economic slowdown happening, most likely going to end in recession there. But that could take anywhere from 6 to 18 months. So we'll pay attention. Are we up 1% overnight? A reaction. I mean, it's just a reaction here. So this could be, I know that I was looking into some options data and TQQQ actually. So if we go over to the Qs, TQQQ saw a huge amount of puts put in like right here. and then we saw this downward price action. So we got to see, maybe they took profit on that. Maybe they were just trying to get a flash thing, but that really happened just for a split second yesterday. And so that's what you want to pay attention to, is just, yeah, they really went to the put side, and that showed some price action to the downside. So those people were correct. And now you have to see, are they going to keep those positions, or did they get rid of those positions because it was just, oh, a small play to push markets down and then heads back up? We'll see. This is one reason I don't like the cameras, because this cord gets in the way. I got my old water right here too. I got to clean up this desk a little bit. Clean up this desk a little bit. But good morning. What time is Jackson Hole today? It's 30 minutes after the open. Played the lottery yesterday with my stock Kava earnings. Oh, that's right. How did Kava earnings go for you? Looks like up 8%. So you see that the signals here saying, hey, there could be weakness in some way, but earnings and up 8%. So there you go. We had a bunch of divergence and stuff like that. That completed, and good news. Do you see how the technicals did not help this out? So it's like, it's still a 50-50 flip, even with good technicals saying, hey, there could be weakness here. You're in a bullish trend. So overall, that heads to the upside. That's all you would want to really say. Okay, dollar going flat now as the market is gapping higher. So this is something to pay attention to this morning. People getting a little excited to the upside while there is some selling behind the curtain as of right now. Now, that's not dramatic. We need to see that really push higher and see the SPY hold at higher levels in order to really read into this. The main thing to see here is the daily going to end up crossing up over the next few days. I think that will be a telling sign in a key zone. So that's something to pay attention to. I wonder what Bitcoin is doing this morning. Notice oil seeing some upward price action as well, by the way. I thought that was interesting. We see the 2-hour has dipped down and it's trying to curl up. So it looks like Jackson Hole is going to be pretty important, maybe for something like Bitcoin. I'm going to go use the restroom in like 5 minutes just to make sure I'm good to go for this today. But oil, I thought this was interesting. The rotation into oil commodities and things like that. So the rotation into commodities, interesting to see that from this point. Palantir seeing a slight move up as well. What did housing sector? No trade. So let's go look at nail, see if there's a trade there for us. Okay, so upside for nail for now. Never curled down on this 2-hour chart. 30-minute curls down, 30-minute curls up. You can see some positivity if that thing's able to curl up today. Always up in the pre-market, yeah. That's what it seems like. You experience a drop, okay, calls at the end of that drop, and then make some money to the upside, scalp that thing at the first part of the day. Okay, IWM as well. Yeah, I'm gonna go use the restroom so I'm comfortable before this talk comes, and then I'm gonna pull up, make sure to have that up over here. So I'll be right back in just 2 minutes. Let me go use the restroom. $50. Happy belated birthday, Lucas. Sending a good luck vibe to all, long or short. Yeah, hey, that's great. Short Fridays. That's a very nice sentiment for the day. And thank you so much for the $50. Like, holy crap. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I told my wife that we have to go to Firehouse Subs. I've never been. I told her we have to go to Firehouse Subs. And I literally said, because Short Fridays wants me to go to Firehouse Subs, I have to go. He donated money so that I would go to Firehouse Subs and get the hook and reel. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. And I promise you, I will do that in the next few days. All right. Thank you again for the $50. That is so awesome. And thank you for the sentiment to all traders out there. That's right. We're not hoping or anything against any of you guys. We want everyone out there to win. That's why we're here today, just to be helpful for what is going on in the market. We just want to pay attention to what's going on and help out with these signals, learn how to trade these signals, and we hope your plays go well. All right. I'll be right back in 2 minutes. Let me go use the restroom and I'll be right back. Thank you again, Short Fridays. It means a lot to me and my family. So appreciate you guys. Talk in the chat. What do you guys think is going to happen for the day? Do we end red or do we end green? Do we end higher than yesterday or do we end lower? What do you guys think? Alrighty, and we're back and we're comfortable and we're ready to go. So, one thing I was going to say was, oh yeah, llama mama. If Maria's here, you guys don't think I actually take your donations and do what you guys are thinking, right? Maria donated. She said we have to get some treats for the doggos, so the dogs get a couple of dentist sticks this morning. They get the small ones today. We have big ones too, but we're gonna give those to the boys real quick. Be nice. Good boy. Alan, be nice. No, be nice. Settle down. There you go. Okay. There you go. So the boys get a treat to start off the day. Brought to you by Maria. They say thank you, Maria. All right, yeah. So for the most part, he's taking a dump. You're back. No, I didn't take a dump. I did not take a dump. I just had to pee. Coffee. I've been trying to drink my coffee before I even start the stream. And then, because it's still my birthday week, am I drinking a Code Red right now? Yeah. Gotta go to the gym today, though. Ow, I just hit my freaking knee on this. Are we going to watch Jerome Powell? Yes, thank you for reminding me. I'm going to make sure to get on my premium YouTube account so we don't see any commercials, any ads, or anything like that. And we will look for Jerome Powell this morning, and we'll kind of hear what he has to say, see if he's going to talk bullish or bearish about it. Can I search like live video only here? Where's CNBC? There it is. Let's just do CNBC. So we will have Jerome Powell live for you in a little bit, and we will go through it, see what he has to say. Yes, Mark, we will be going through it. Mark, did you see this move from gold this morning, by the way? Move from gold this morning, popping up, probably curling up on this 30-minute MACD. I guess if we really wanted to head higher, but that would be a nice little look to head higher there, wouldn't it? Does Jackson Hole announcement means the rate cut or no cut? No, they've already announced at the FOMC that they are very, 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 very likely to cut by 25 basis points in September. And they are even more likely as well to do another cut before the end of the year. So you're looking at 50 basis points before the end of the year, one of those being in September. Yeah. But this move from gold, I was like, my goodness, okay, gold was really selling off, which meant some good things, I think, for cash, for the dollar. But as that starts to pop back up, now that might mean bad things for the dollar, which is kind of interesting because the dollar is actually going positive right now, by the way, dollar going positive, and look at the market right now. The market's positive. So as of right now, if we get some kind of low PCC, that would be the perfect scenario for some kind of fade of this overall move. But I think it all will really depend on how Jerome Powell, gives out his information today. If it's going to be, yeah, we're just cutting rates and that's just because everything's going to plan and we have a soft landing. I think the more important things are going to be how he answers the questions about the job data, because the job data was revised. I think someone posted out there that this jobs data revision, we haven't seen as big of jobs data revision since 2009. We all know what was going on around that time. So are we having some kind of situation where they are legitimately lying about the data to convince you that everything's fine? It's definitely possible. We've kind of seen it before. So kind of scary, isn't it? Have you stacked that silver? I've been slowly accumulating personally. I still feel like we might have 6 months left in this market, so I'm slowly accumulating. I'm not trying to break the bank by buying a ton of silver or something like that. I'm going to slowly acquire that over time. But I've been slowly acquiring gold and silver for a little bit. Pretty much ever since M7 came into the channel, I started being like, maybe I do need to do this a little bit more. Got a nice shirt from Abuela for my birthday. Very, very nice. I don't know who that is, Christopher. I don't know who that is, but we'll find out. All right, Tesla, a couple things that have some big volatility. I just wanted to go through and say that as we look at these daily expected moves that we put out on Patreon for the day, the market stayed relatively similar to yesterday, just maybe a tiny bit more volatility, but roughly similar. But you have things like Tesla, things like Nvidia, things like AMD, And is there another one? Yeah, mainly just NVIDIA, AMD, and Tesla all experiencing some very high implied volatility for the day, and then obviously AMC and GME. Let's go take a peek at those. Most likely those are going to end at what? $5. Most likely you're going to end right at $5 here for AMC and GME. One thing to note here about AMC is the 2-hour cross down, it wasn't able to curl up. What curls up a 2-hour chart still? 30-minute divergence. 30-minute divergence is known to curl up 2-hour charts in my back testing. And so we see that upward divergence. If we can get some positive price action today and confirm that, maybe that ends up being a play where we see a breakout on Monday. That could be possible. We'll find out. We'll see if this is a turning point for the market to go down. Maybe AMC and GME actually benefit from that, but they could follow the market in that same direction. So it's interesting. You can see that divergence on the MACD. Let's see on the RSI here. You see it on the RSI as well. So if AMC sees that price action to the upside, this is actually a short-term signal for the 30-minute to reverse that trend. Means that 2-hour can actually rotate back up. If that 2-hour rotates up and goes positive, then the daily scale would rotate up and most likely turn up on this MACD, and look how close it would be to positive territory. So we'll find out. We don't want to read into it too much. Remember the smaller signals. Yes, this is a cool signal and all, but most of the time, we've just seen this thing barcode for pretty much weeks and weeks. And when it does get excited, it gets smashed down. And then when it gets excited to the downside, pumps back up. So they can't force the stock fully down at this point, right? Can't force the stock fully down at this point, it seems, for AMC. But it still tells us there is a battle going on here. So these are signals to pay attention. If those fade quickly, then you have to react as well and say that's not going to be the moment most likely. Now we do notice GameStop giving this breakdown right here from some consolidation, some flagging. So that was interesting. The 2-hour was not able to curl up. It's still positive. We'll see if that thing can whip back around. But for now, doesn't that look like it's just about to fall a little bit? So we'll pay attention to that. We'll see if there's any reversal signals in here as we open up 8:30 a.m. Let's go back over to the SPY, hitting on a 30-minute cross up. I'm sure this thing, nope, it actually did not cross up. So we still have the potential for rejection or to see something crazy. Maybe some kind of move to that weekly expected move would be likely. See something like this, that can happen. Or maybe it's all good news. We'll have to find out. For now, you do have the dollar that's trying to remain positive while the market is overall in a bullish state. So we'll see if that is going to be some rigged behavior to the downside. The dollar, if you see this type of move, even 0.56 move, you should expect the dollar to be coming down a little bit more than that and not expect this to happen. But that's not necessarily a move like this one, right? We're looking for a move like this where you see a rapid move to cash and that doesn't hit the tape yet for the SPY. I think that's kind of what we're looking for here. It does look like the tech stocks could experience a little bit more weakness today than the SPY itself. So paying attention to the tech stocks. Remember, Tesla, pretty big implied volatility, already up 2%, so that does make sense. And then another one, NVIDIA, already up, well, it was up like 1.5%. And now it is fading just a little bit. I expect us to be a little bit of a cat and mouse game before Jerome Powell comes out and talks. And then AMD has a lot of implied volatility as well. So you're looking for 30-minute curl-ups of all these. AMD actually has a pretty good look to it, right around this 160.83 level. Boom, we get a reaction to there, curl back down. That would be a nice look. We'll see if we get something like that or if we just start to teeter over, because as you look at the SPY, and you go into the higher time frames, you have a 2-hour that's saying you're still in a pullback, right? And then you have a 4-hour that looks like, hey, I do want to cross. As those time frames increase and you start to cross down on them, the momentum to the downside could pick up. I'm still leaning towards a gap fill of maybe this guy right here. I still think that that would be great. SPY goes down to something like 543. Everyone starts screaming crash, and then that whips back around. I think that would be a good look. Hopefully on Patreon, I know it wasn't a setups video, but we did give that update video on Patreon. If you want to join for those updates, it's a little extra stuff that we talk about on the Patreon to be aware of. And sometimes we do have trade setups. This one was more just be aware of what could happen, be aware of the scenarios. And I wanted to talk through a few of those. Patreon link is down in the description. $7 a month, pretty much a cup of coffee, gets you that data, that info, get the daily expected moves for today, and you get weekly, monthly expected moves, which will be coming out. A new monthly expected moves will be coming out in about a week, so about next weekend. But looking at these, you just want to see if these higher time frames are turning over. That means the overall momentum to the downside can start to increase. Pinning max pain and spoofing AMC close 599 to 501. Yeah, it seems every week you end about 495 to 505 every single week. So right in that area for max pain. Told you I'd keep you safe, just Joe. Yeah, and the best thing about the dollar was, especially with someone like, you know, Just Joe, who just like keeps us like, hey, just think about it for a second. Well, we thought about it for a second. I started to think about the zone where it's at, and I just go, okay, if the dollar is really going to collapse here, we could see a boom in stocks. But as we head into this zone, we could see some kind of reaction, and that's what we want to pay attention to. As the SPY is heading up higher, we're seeing cuts, we're seeing jobs data revision, we're seeing unemployment go up. It could mean a turning point for a short period of time. We'll see what happens. Maybe we do, you know, turn for a little bit, get that pull back, and then pulls back in the dollar, where then we see the dollar increase over time come the end of September after that rate cut. Maybe something actually happens towards September, towards October, right? We can pay attention to those things, but pretty cool to see that this zone is starting to see a reaction. We'll pay attention to the rest of the day. The Dow, still seeing if this wants to break through, right? Really down towards the center line, curling up on the MACD as of right now. So we'll see if this is truly able to break through, if it has enough liquidity to do it, or if it needs to go fetch some by seeing a bigger overall pullback. I have an M7. What's that? They got a new car battery coming out. You got a bunch of DJT. Well, Fridays can be a little rough for DJT as well, but you are seeing some good price action. Did you curl up on the MACD? You are today. So if you get a strong bar here, that would say, hey, daily momentum might be shifting to the upside with these divergences down here on the MACD, on the RSI at the same time. So it is a time. Sorry, Bruce plays with his food. Weirdly enough, Bruce plays with Toby's tiny little food bowl. But this here is a signal to pay attention to. It means momentum has weakened at this level, and you could see that reaction. But we know as well, 2-hour divergences like to roll these things up, and it's getting towards, you could have one more push down for a double bottom or something like that to create that divergence to show you that weakness on a 2-hour chart. You look at, what's that one called? Shogun Solo? 600-mile range and 9-minute charge. Holy shit, does that thing get hot? Because that charges really fast. The voltage on that must be insane. Yeah, the voltage on that must be kind of nutty, huh? FNGR. It looks like finger. I'm like, what the heck? FNGR. Okay, let's go take a look at this real quick. Finger motion. I'm sorry. It's a little funny. Getting the higher low here is fantastic. You see that upward move? Okay, awesome. This is actually giving you a solid little look here. Curls up, positivity, and then you can see this elongated action here. So we want to see if there's anything on the daily scale when it's elongated like that. And look at that, daily divergence here. Given here, you get the positive bar right here. You get pretty much all the signals on one of these two bars here. If you look at that 2-hour, you could have had an early position. Fantastic move to the upside. Seems like it's just getting started. Now that could need to consolidate on a 30-minute or something like that. It's been a pretty good upward move. So if you get that consolidation on a 30-minute, that would be nice. Move sideways on a 30-minute, but daily momentum could be taking over here and you could just keep going. So as of right now, I wish it would be like, oh, I wish I saw this 2 days ago, pretty much. I wish I saw this 2 days ago right here. And then I look at a 2-hour and I say, okay, this is a go at this point, and it's going. So good move here from FNGR. Looks like it may continue, maybe even all the way up to the 200. Let's look for a breakdown area as well. So this level here kind of sticks out to me, something like 259, but the main level that's sticking out to me is this wick right here, these two wicks with these closing bars. I'm just going to say something like 295, right around that 200. So two levels to really pay attention to. Obviously, as we hit this level, you need to say, are we going to consolidate before breaking higher with some kind of left head, right shoulder? Okay, so in this area, you're looking for that 30-minute pullback maybe if you're not in this yet, or taking a chance with the daily scale, getting that positive momentum. But for the most part, you would say we have some walls we can run into on the way up. If it's going to keep that positivity, that would make sense. If it's going to pull back, that would make sense. That's why it's very important to get in early on the move. A lot of people on the put side, puts were increased a little bit yesterday at those highs. That actually, I think someone knew that there was going to be a downfall just a little bit because they used TQQQ. So TQQQ had a heavy short in it for one moment towards this area, and boom, well, I guess the Qs. This area up here, we saw a bunch of shorts put into the market, and boom. So they knew something was going to pull back, but just notice that it's a pullback at the end of the day, right? It's a pullback. So if that 30-minute crosses up into positive territory, we can see positivity. We just want to be aware of any reversal signals by the end of the day. Hey, Adventure Shogun Solo, thank you for your third super on the live chat. Please give it up for Short Fridays and Adventures with Shogun Solo, because they are donating to the channel. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for giving back to the community. And thanks, Lucas, for looking into it. I got early into FNGR, and I think it's because of GDC is squeezing since yesterday. Okay, so we have that one as well. Fantastic. See, if you're in early, Shogun, isn't it nice? It's kind of nice when you're in there a little bit early. What up, J7? How you doing? I'm doing good. I'm doing good. What up? I got a nice little cut going. I'm feeling good. And it's raining this morning. I do enjoy me some rain. My AMC options are going up in value for some reason this morning. I don't know why, but I did apply that option and gave myself a little birthday present. If you don't remember, I gave myself a birthday present. If you guys remember 2 weeks ago, I said I'm giving myself a birthday present. And that's going to be, I'm going to buy AMC options for the end of the month. So I did that. And J7, thank you so much for the $4.99. Really appreciate that. Thank you so much. I will make sure to get myself some coffee. And I'm thinking about going to see the farmer's market this weekend and see if I can get you guys some deals on some coffee. I think that would be fun. But thank you guys so much for the donations this Friday. Really appreciate it. Hopefully everyone was able to benefit from the short squeeze signals that we were talking about, things like NVIDIA and things like that. I'm officially a silver stacker. Let's go. I'm there with you, M7. I'm sure I don't have as much as you, but I just started. Let me get some time under my belt. UI status, right? Yeah. I mean, I'm more just paying attention to signals, and you'll see me at times where I'm like, oh shit, this could be bad, this could be bad, and then I just go. But as long as we're paying attention to the signals, we're fine. People like just joke them out. They go, nah, dollar's finding an area here, that kind of thing. So I kind of need that from you guys as well. So I appreciate it. Looking at GDC here, want to look at it from the daily scale. That thing did turn up. Like, the thing is, with stocks like these ones that potentially I would say have short seller problems or something like that, because this is a massive reaction. Really just want to pay attention to those dailies curling up into positive territory. You notice daily curls up right here at 144. What happens about a month later, right? So this curled up about here, and we look about a month later, we're just going. You're just going. You've almost 10 times on that. So you can see how taking out longer dates if you're doing options can help you when you see that simple cross up on a daily MACD. That's kind of why we're looking for that from AMC and GME. Some kind of daily cross up can be important if it's positive territory. And thank you guys so much again for the donations. It's fantastic. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Breakout in Palantir. Are we going to see that breakout in Palantir? Well, the thing with Palantir is still a little worried at these levels, but if that 30-minute does curl up, we can see positivity. The only reason I'm a little worried is because this could have been a great breakout moment. You had some consolidation that looked pretty nice, and you kind of stopped right on that channel line. Okay, that channel line, you kind of stop. So even if you do run up, you can stop on that channel again. So you necessarily would want to go like this curl up on that MACD and then look for that weekly range for next week and say, okay, if I get up towards that, that would be probably as high up as I go next week. That's how I would treat it. But at the same time, you need to start looking at bigger time frames, because look at the 4 hour. 4 hours cross down. So that 30-minute move, it could just be some kind of fake out that then leads you into that actual 4 hour pullback. I still really like this level of 29.12. I think coming down into this area would be very, very nice. You curl down, you gain some of those buyers, you head up over time, but it doesn't have to be that steep. It can hold up a little bit better and then go like this, and then see if you can get that upward price action. We'll pay attention to any divergences that are made here. So for the short term, it's like, hey, 30-minute, yeah, you could see a little bit of positivity, but I think if I'm patient here and I see if this 2 hour or something can roll back up, if we keep going sideways and then that 2 hour rolls up, you'd buy yourself some more room to possibly head even like, you know, 5% higher or something like that, instead of just some little 2% move. You could maybe even see like a 5% move up or a 7% move up. So GDC is the definition of a rocket ship. Yes, I wish I saw that for sure. Nail, for the most part, you know, technicals on this, like to look at HGX. I really like to look at HGX. It'll give you just a little bit more sentiment of the housing sector, but home builders heading in the upward direction, 30-minute crosses up, positivity. The thing is, you're already overbought in this area. It looks like you're trying to carve it out. So if you were able to get to this level, watch out for that cup and handle. But for the most part, as nail heads higher, what's happening in the housing sector, we have to see as this opens up. So we have to wait for this for a little bit. But for the most part, you would just say most likely the housing sector is going to see, if home builders is seeing upside, then most likely housing sees that upside. And then just be aware of any kind of divergences for that 2 hour pullback. That's what I would say as far as anything related to housing goes. Really pay attention for those 30-minute signals. Palantir is still a short top for me, and yeah, that's why I want to talk very clearly about it, because I'm not necessarily saying, oh, Palantir is going to break out and see something massive. You know, any stock can. It's just the probabilities here are more leaning towards, hey, maybe if we get that reaction, it's just going to be a trap. That's what it looks like at this point. But if we can consolidate a little further and then see that 2 hour cross up, I think that's the better opportunity down the line. Or if the 4 hour can really pull back and the 2 hour and 4 hour start to cross back up, I think that's the better opportunity, the better trade, right? The better trade. It's not necessarily saying like this can't go up right now. It's like, but would that be a fantastic trade? Well, if I do this, then that wouldn't be a fantastic trade. So I just want to pay attention to what's going on. Right now, moving sideways, that's fantastic for Palantir. I really like Palantir. I think it's great. But for the most part, I want to see a little bit deeper pullback just to get this 2 hour by that center line as close as possible, get this down a little lower, and then I have a lot of room on this MACD to turn up, right? If I go like this, I have a lot of room to turn up, and we can go from something like 30 and see like a 10% move. That's what I'd really like. PCC opening up right now at 0.90. So some people trying to short as of right now. As the dollar actually goes positive here for a brief moment, 0.02 positive, as the SPY is positive. So the only thing that you don't have as far as if we're going to see a rug pull is we don't necessarily see that trap of calls, right? You want the call side to maybe be trapped. You're not necessarily seeing that just yet. Apple's on the move. Let's look at Apple first, since we pay attention to that closely, then we might look at some other stuff. Apple, we see this 30-minute crossing about to cross up, so we can see a big move here. I believe you still have room to go up to like 232 by the end of the day. Now I need to pay attention to daily expected moves as well. Oh, I don't have the right things up here. Okay, daily expected move for Apple. Looks like we can head up towards 230, 232. Looks like this area up here could be pretty important. So this little area right here, oop, I got a draw, sorry. This little area right here, boom, could be pretty important if we're gonna curl up on this MACD. We got about 14 minutes until we have that speech. Whoa, AMC actually seeing a pretty good turn up here, so let's pay attention to this. I mean, it is a reversal signal. It would mean you have a shot. If they're not gonna be able to fight the stock this time, you have a shot. GameStop as well, just seeing that one to curl up on a 30-minute, you have a shot. If that happens, you do have a shot at it. Right? That's the type of signal you see before a big 2 hour upward move. And if that 2 hour gets that big upward move, the daily can cross. That's how you get into stuff early. If things start to fade back down, you gotta, you know, manage those trades. That's the best thing I can say. Volatility, we're just seeing if this wants to cross up on a 30-minute or if it wants to fully cross down on the 2-hour. Remember, if it crosses down on this 2-hour, you could break this low. Maybe you double bottom off that 200 or something like that. But for the most part, you would say 2-hour curls down, you're probably going to squeeze a little bit more. 2-hour goes down, you're probably going to squeeze a little bit more. And then if that 2-hour can rotate back up at any time, even with a higher low, rotates back up, you'll be closer to positive territory, positive trend for the 2-hour. Right now, you are in a positive trend. It's tilted up. So even though you're experiencing upside, volatility still remaining higher. So that does make sense to see that reaction. Seeing the PCC come down a little bit to 0.88 this morning. Dollar still turning up as of right now. Crossed up on a 4-hour, looking for that to cross on the daily scale if we're going to see some kind of sell-off. We do have some people running into TLT for a moment here. We'll see what happens with that. As if you really look at these yields, by the way, and we look at it on the daily scale, are people pricing in 25 basis points with this type of move? No, actually, I think that they're actually pricing in something like 50 to even 75. That's what seems to be priced into me at this point. And as that curls up, you might see that reaction up from here just because we're only going to get 25 basis points in September. But this could make sense even right now, as they have said, hey, we're planning on cutting twice by the end of the year. So we just have to pay attention to it for the most part. But you would say they're planning on cutting now. So TLT, that is my one investment that I've held ever since this cross up of the MACD right here, right? You guys know I bought this down towards that 82.50. We talked about 82.50 in this area. It went down to that area. We see some reversal signals in here with the divergence. Perfect buy for the 82.50. And boom, heads to the upside. I started to take out my position here, reapply that position in here, manage the trade. Then I'm back in the position and now looking pretty good. So I do enjoy what's going on with TLT. I just have to be aware that the daily could roll over here. And maybe, just maybe, I need to react to that for a brief moment, take some profit in this overall move. See that curl down for a moment and curl right back up. So that's what I'm looking at for yields for TLT as of right now. As we switch back over to the SPY, we can see if we're hitting a daily expected move. Looks like we're a pretty beeline to go test that area. So let's just pay attention to that before Jerome Powell does talk. All right, cool. Oh, whoops, accidentally clicked something. Nice haircut. Thank you so much, Fardis. I was really looking forward to it. So my barber had her first kid, and respect to her, no drugs, nothing, just straight up. And I was like, damn, that's crazy. So I had a lot of questions, but it was a lot of fun. I had her trim my beard up and stuff like that, so a little trim going. But I'm gonna shave this thing down. Because this is where it's like gets a little scratchy. If you've ever had some beard, this is the length where it starts to get a little like, ugh, for me at least. Some dudes can rock the full big beard. I just, oof. Yeah, she was supposed to have that like at-home water bird with that like nice tub or whatever, and the tub actually broke, so they just did the thing, and I was like, oh crap. And I was like, kudos to you. I was like, that's so awesome. I think that's insane. I think like that's crazy. But I'm like, damn, that's a strong move there. Now, real quick, just so you remember, the three stocks with a bunch of implied volatility are Tesla, Nvidia, and AMD. The three stocks that are up by more than about more than 2% right now would be AMD, Nvidia, and Tesla. So these are the ones with that implied volatility. Got to pay attention to those daily expected moves over on Patreon. We see that Tesla is heading up towards. It actually has some more room to the upside for Tesla on that daily expected move. Nvidia has some more upside still there for that daily expected move. AMD has some more upside, and they all have about 5 points, I would say, to that upward expected move. 9 minutes until Jerome Powell talks. Who's excited? Looks like a lot of people, a lot of people taking out shorts or getting into puts, at least for now, this morning right before the talk. We'll see what the reaction is during the talk. I think that's pretty important. We'll see if volatility is turning up as it reacts down to our 1683 level. That's why I have it there. It's a level that I pay attention to. The Dow fading the move as of right now. Dow really suffering at this trend line here between the two highs, not able to fully break up. it looks good, like, right? The RSI looks decent. Price action looks okay, just an ugly wick there. But the MACD hasn't curled up yet. If all three of those things happen, you could see some upside, so we'll pay attention. IWM, if we want to shift over to that real quick, that crossed up, crossed right back down, giving you the 30-minute divergence signal here. 2 hour is curling down. You have a little tiny divergence in there as well. Don't want to read too much into that, as we could just experience, this is pretty good price action, so we could just experience more of that pullback and then see if we whip back up, right? Something like this could form, left head, right shoulder. That would be nice. Alrighty, let's go into a 30-minute for the chat here. I'm just trying to zoom in. We're 7 minutes before that call comes in, or that interview comes in. Sell the news of a cut, could be on the table, we'll see. Shows the drops on Jackson Hole are a lot more terrifying than the rises, and that's why it's kind of like I would have liked us to consolidate before going into a lot of this. Going into even Wednesday, I really would have liked to see consolidation. We haven't gotten that. We've gotten a little excited. Like, you can imagine the difference if we just went to, say, this level, and during all of this, we actually did the opposite thing, and then we looked like this before that talk. That would be fantastic. Like, it would really look good. You get the good news from Jerome Powell, it crosses up, and then you just go, okay, this is a go. Then you maybe have a weekly expected move for next week. You go test that, and then you can go from there. But we didn't get that. We've gotten overexcited. I think people are a little over leveraged here. We'll still find out if people can get tricked more. Right now, you just have the dollar up, well, the dollar flat, the SPY up, and you don't necessarily have people trapped to the call side, at least from the PCC this morning. You would say the day traders aren't trapped to the upside yet for the most part. Maybe I'm finally on the right side of a stock. I'm praying for you. I really am. I like that look from DJT. I really, really do. So get your popcorn and cheers ready. We'll see. It'd be nice to see something from those stocks, as they've pretty much been bar-coded, I feel like, or at least AMC's been bar-coded for a while. And both of those stocks are, I wouldn't even call them memes anymore. I think they're making decent business moves as of right now. Yeah, so I still have my UVXY position. I'm thinking if I need to try to get a better position at this point, like look at it, kind of see what's going on with volatility. But what I want to do is I just want to keep my single position, and then if we get a 2 hour to pull down and then cross back up, I can reapply that position just so time doesn't eat at me a little bit. So I already have a position here. I have a position down in here. But for the most part, if this would do that, I would maybe manage that position, reapply the position if I see that turn back up, and maybe do a little bit bigger that time, because I would have a 2 hour divergence. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. I've been binge watching Dumb Money, but it just doesn't help. Oh, that's funny. Not gonna lie too, though, when Roaring Kitty came back, I did watch Dumb Money. I love that see how the camera freezes all the time? It's super annoying. I have a single position, 100% in silver. Hey, if that's your trading style, I mean, that's perfectly fine with me. AMC now up 1.63%. 2 hour might be able to curl up today. It looks like it's not being fought right now, but it is hitting that $5 mark. So this is where, you know, you start to, on a Friday, break above $5. Oh, you might start to barcode again. Just see that craziness. Gold actually seeing the upward move, which is interesting because the dollar is seeing the slight upward move, you would say, right? Trying to go back to positive. So very interesting. That's why I was kind of mentioning to Mark, I was like, do you see this move from gold? Because it's curling up on a 30-minute like it wants to go up. No, it's more likely because I haven't, like, I don't have my router isn't down with me. It has to be upstairs. And so I have like a hole, and I need to get through the carpet to, like, I need an Ethernet. If I have Ethernet, it's insane, right? If I have Ethernet, this stuff runs smooth. This is just good internet is what's this running. And I'm running 2 PCs, a phone, whatever the girls are doing upstairs all the time, looking at multiple charts at the same time. Now we're gonna watch a YouTube video. So it's just a lot, but. Good morning, nice. And is Jerome Powell live or no? Most likely not. I mean, I can check over there, but for the most part, you'd say in 30 minutes. Or I'm sorry, in 3 minutes, not 30 minutes. In about 2 minutes, he goes live. Let's see what people are talking about before Jack's home. Okay, nothing really. Get fiber. I tried to get fiber here. It's like one of the locations where you can't get it in the city. My last place I was at had a fiber and it was pretty dope. Thoughts on Google? We can go look at Google real quick. Google has a chance to catch up. Kind of if we're going to see that breadth come in, I think Google would be one that can see some upside as it's breaking through, retesting a breakout area. If that 30-minute can curl up, hey, we should expect positivity. The only problem with this right now is the 2 hour is curling down. So you do have potential to see structure here, right? You do have potential for this to keep dropping, curl back up, and then we get some kind of head and shoulders, right? We get something like this going on. So I'm aware of how it would break down. Right now I have that signal. But if the 30-minute curls up, then that 2 hour can't head down anymore. So I want to pay attention. 30-minute curls up. Awesome. What can I look for in there? Well, it's going to be close to the center line initially, so I need to pay attention to it as it's close. As it gets further away, I can feel more comfortable about it. And if it doesn't make a divergence point, that's when I'm pretty damn comfortable holding Google, right? So for the most part, 30 minutes pulling back, if that can pop up, good things. 2 hours curling down though, so you really need this 30-minute to pop up. OMG, get out of cities before everything tanks. I can't tell if you're being sarcastic or if you're genuine, but I do have a stipulation plan, so don't worry. Oh, wait, I think he just started. I'm hearing little noises. I'm gonna wait till he's actually out. Okay, he's out. He's like over there in the corner, if you can see him.
All right, good morning. Thank you, and welcome to the first day of sessions for the Federal Reserve Bank of Kansas City Jackson Hole Economic Symposium. My name is Karen Dinan, and I'm going to be your moderator for today's sessions.
We're breaking above the daily expected move right before this event. Remember that reaction to the weekly, maybe we get some divergence point, or we might see something crazy.
So it's a super important topic, particularly right now. And we've got some great papers lined up for this morning. We've got 2 papers, and we also have a panel lined up for that. But before we get to any of that, I am delighted to say that we have Federal Reserve Chair Jay Powell here to deliver opening remarks. So with that, let me welcome Jay Powell to the podium.
Trash. I'll try to turn it up for you guys as much as I can. That's pretty much as much.
City Fed. It's great to be back here today.
Oh my God, it's so trash.
4.5 years after COVID-19's arrival, the worst of the pandemic-related economic distortions are
Bump
fading.
up your speakers, guys. I'm going to mute so you can hear them. It keeps muting on its own, by the way. I don't... Okay, their audio's trash. I'm going to go try to find another one. It's just muting on its own.
While maintaining a strong labor market, avoiding the sharp increases in unemployment that characterized earlier disinflationary episodes when inflation expectations were less well anchored. While the task is not complete, we have made a good deal of progress toward that outcome. Today, I will begin by addressing the current economic situation and the path ahead for monetary policy. I will then turn to a discussion of economic events since the pandemic arrived, exploring why inflation rose to levels not seen in a generation and why it has fallen so much while unemployment has remained low. So let's begin with the current situation and the near-term outlook for policy. For much of the past 3 years, inflation ran well above our 2% goal, and labor market conditions were extremely tight. The FOMC's primary focus has been on bringing down inflation, and appropriately so. Prior to this episode, most Americans alive today had not experienced the pain of high inflation for a sustained period. Inflation brought substantial hardship, especially for those least able to meet the higher costs of essentials, like food, housing, and transportation. High inflation triggered stress and a sense of unfairness that linger today. Our restrictive monetary policy helped restore balance between aggregate supply and demand, easing inflationary pressures and ensuring that inflation expectations remained well anchored. Inflation is now much closer to our objective, with prices having risen 2.5% over the past 12 months. After a pause earlier this year, progress toward our 2% objective has resumed. My confidence has grown that inflation is on a sustainable path back to 2%. Turning to employment, in the years just prior to the pandemic, we saw the significant benefits to society that can come from a long period of strong labor market conditions. Low unemployment, high participation, historically low racial employment gaps, and with inflation low and stable, healthy real wage gains that were increasingly concentrated among those with lower incomes. Today, the labor market has cooled considerably from its formerly overheated state. The unemployment rate began to rise over a year ago and is now at 4.3%, still low by historical standards, but almost a full percentage point above its level in early 2023.
Well, just remember, he's going to try to talk good. It's the
Most
if you can get a question about jobs data.
6 months. So far, rising unemployment has not been the result of elevated layoffs, as is typically the case in an economic downturn. Rather, the increase mainly reflects a substantial increase in the supply of workers and a slowdown from the previously frantic pace of hiring. Even so, the cooling in labor market conditions is unmistakable. Job gains remain solid, but have slowed this year. Job vacancies have fallen, and the ratio of vacancies to unemployment has returned to its pre-pandemic range. The hiring and quits rates are now below the levels that prevailed in 2018 and 19.
Jobs were solid until the revision.
And all told, labor market
keep him
conditions
honest
are
here.
now less tight than just before the pandemic in 2019, a year when inflation ran below 2%. It seems unlikely that the labor market will be a source of elevated inflationary pressures anytime soon. We do not seek or welcome further cooling in labor market conditions. Overall, the economy continues to grow at a solid pace, but the inflation and labor market data show an evolving situation. The upside risks to inflation have diminished, and the downside risks to employment have increased. As we highlighted in our last FOMC statement, we are attentive to the risks to both sides of our dual mandate. The time has come for policy to adjust. The direction of travel is clear, and the timing and pace of rate cuts will depend on incoming data, the evolving outlook, and the balance of risks. We will do everything we can to support a strong labor market as we make further progress toward price stability. With an appropriate dialing back of policy restraint, there is good reason to think that the economy will get back to 2% inflation while maintaining a strong labor market. The current level of our policy rate gives us ample room to respond to any risks we may face, including the risk of unwelcome further weakening in labor market conditions. So let's now turn to the questions of why inflation rose and why it has fallen so significantly even as unemployment has remained low. There's a growing body of research on these questions, including Gowdy Eggerson's work, which will
Unemployment hasn't remained low. Sorry.
And this is a good time for this discussion. It is, of course, too soon to make definitive assessments. This period will be analyzed and debated long after we are all gone. The arrival of the COVID-19 pandemic led quickly to shutdowns in economies around the world. It was a time of radical uncertainty and severe downside risks. As so often happens in times of crisis, Americans adapted and innovated. Governments responded with extraordinary force, especially in the United States. Congress unanimously passed the CARES Act. At the Fed, we used our powers to an unprecedented extent to stabilize the financial system and help stave off an economic depression.
Dollar has gone down dramatically.
After a historically deep
0.4.
but brief recession in mid-2020, the economy began to grow again. And as the risks of a severe extended downturn receded, and as the economy reopened, we faced the risk of replaying the painfully slow recovery that followed the global financial crisis. Congress delivered substantial additional fiscal support in late 2020 and again in early 2021. Spending recovered strongly in the first half of 2021, and the ongoing pandemic shaped the pattern of the recovery. Lingering concerns over COVID weighed on spending on in-person services, but pent-up demand, stimulative policies, pandemic changes in work and leisure practices, and the additional savings associated with constrained services spending all contributed to a historic surge in consumer spending on goods. The pandemic also wreaked havoc on supply conditions. 8 million people left the workforce at its onset, and the size of the labor force was still 4 million below its pre-pandemic level in early 2021. The labor force would not return to its pre-pandemic trend until mid-2023. Supply chains were snarled by a combination of lost workers, disrupted international trade linkages, and tectonic shifts in the composition and level of demand. Clearly, this was nothing like the slow recovery after the global financial crisis. Enter inflation. After running below target through 2020, inflation spiked in March and April 2021.
The dollar dropping off that dramatically says upside still most likely. Crossing up on the MACD.
Extremely large price increases for goods in short supply, such as motor vehicles. My colleagues and I judged at the outset that these pandemic-related factors would not be persistent, and thus that the sudden rise in inflation was likely to pass through fairly quickly without the need for a monetary policy response. In short, that the inflation would be transitory. Standard thinking has long been that, as long as inflation expectations remain well anchored, it can be appropriate for central banks to look through a temporary rise in inflation. The good ship transitory was a crowded one, with most mainstream analysts and advanced economy central bankers on board. I think I see some former shipmates out there today. The common expectation was that supply conditions would improve reasonably quickly, that the rapid recovery in demand
trying to break out,
would run its course, and that demand would rotate back from goods to services, bringing inflation down. For a time, the data were consistent with the transitory hypothesis. Monthly readings for core inflation declined every month from April through September 2021, although progress came slower than expected. The case began to weaken around mid-year, as was reflected in our communications. And beginning in October, the data turned hard against the transitory hypothesis. Inflation rose and broadened out from goods to services, and it became clear that high inflation was not transitory and that it would require a strong response if inflation expectations were to remain well anchored. We recognized that and pivoted beginning in November. Financial conditions began to tighten, and after phasing out our asset purchases, we lifted off in March of 2022. By early 2022, headline inflation exceeded 6% and core was above 5%. New supply shocks appeared. Russia's invasion of Ukraine led to a sharp increase in energy and commodity prices. The improvements in supply conditions and the rotation in demand from goods to services were taking much longer than expected, in part due to further COVID waves in the United States. And COVID continued to disrupt production globally, including through new and extended lockdowns in China. High rates of inflation were a global phenomenon, reflecting common experiences: rapid increases in the demand for goods, strained supply chains, tight labor markets, and sharp hikes in commodity prices. The global nature of inflation was unlike any period since the 1970s. Back then, high inflation became entrenched, an outcome we were utterly committed to avoiding. By mid-2022, the labor market was extremely tight, with employment increasing by 6.5 million jobs from the middle of 2021. This increase in labor demand was met in part by workers rejoining the labor force as health concerns began to fade. but labor supply remained constrained, and in the summer of 2022, labor force participation remained well below pre-pandemic levels. There were nearly twice as many job openings as unemployed persons from March 2022 through the end of the year, signaling a severe labor shortage, and inflation peaked at 7.1% in June 2022. At this podium 2 years ago, I discussed the possibility that addressing inflation could bring some pain in the form of higher unemployment and slower growth. Some argued that getting inflation under control would require a recession and a lengthy period of high unemployment, and I expressed our unconditional commitment to fully restoring price stability and to keeping at it until the job is done. The FOMC did not flinch from carrying out our responsibilities, and our actions forcefully demonstrated our commitment to restoring price stability. We raised our policy rate by 425 basis points in 2022 and another 100 basis points in 2023, and we've held our policy rate at its current restrictive level since July 2023. The summer of 2022 proved to be the peak of inflation. The 4.5 percentage point decline in inflation from its peak 2 years ago has occurred in a context of low unemployment, a welcome and historically unusual result. So, how did inflation fall without a sharp rise in unemployment above its estimated natural rate? Pandemic-related distortions to supply and demand, as well as severe shocks to energy and commodity markets, were important drivers of high inflation, and their reversal has been a key part of the story of its decline. The unwinding of these factors took much longer than expected, but ultimately played a large role in the subsequent disinflation. Our restrictive monetary policy contributed to a moderation in aggregate demand, which combined with improvements in aggregate supply to reduce inflationary pressures, while allowing growth to continue at a healthy pace. As labor demand also moderated, the historically high level of vacancies relative to unemployment has normalized primarily through a decline in vacancies, without sizable and disruptive layoffs, bringing the labor market to a state where it is no longer a source of inflationary pressures. A word on the critical importance of inflation expectations. Standard economic models have long reflected the view that inflation will return to its objective when product and labor markets are balanced without the need for economic slack, so long as inflation expectations are anchored at our objective. That's what the model said. But the stability of longer-run inflation expectations since the 2000s had not been tested by a persistent burst of high inflation. It was far from assured that the inflation anchor would hold. Concerns over de-anchoring contributed to the view that disinflation would require slack in the economy and specifically in the labor market. An important takeaway from recent experience is that anchored inflation expectations, reinforced by vigorous central bank actions, can facilitate disinflation without the need for slack. This narrative attributes much of the increase in inflation to an extraordinary collision between overheated and temporarily distorted demand and constrained supply. While researchers differ in their approaches and to some extent in their conclusions, a consensus seems to be emerging, which I see as attributing most of the rise in inflation to this collision. All told, the healing from pandemic distortions, our efforts to moderate aggregate demand, and the anchoring of expectations have worked together to put inflation on what increasingly appears to be a sustainable path to our 2% objective. Disinflation while preserving labor market strength is only possible with anchored inflation expectations, which reflect
Tesla a couple points away from its daily expected move.
Will bring about 2% inflation over time. That confidence has been built over decades.
NVIDIA a couple points from its daily.
That is my assessment of events. Your mileage may differ. So let me wrap up by emphasizing that the pandemic economy has proved to be unlike any other, and that there remains much to be learned from this extraordinary period. Our statement on longer-run goals and monetary policy strategy emphasizes our commitment to reviewing our principles and making appropriate adjustments through a thorough public review every 5 years. As we begin this process later this year, we will be open to criticism and new ideas while preserving the strengths of our framework. The limits of our knowledge, so clearly evident during the pandemic, demand humility and a questioning spirit focused on learning lessons from the past and applying them flexibly to our current challenges. Thank you.
See if he gets some questions here. Unless that's just over. All right, that's it. So one thing to notice here, we go up and we test the high. A couple things that happened during that was the dollar dropped off dramatically here, okay? Going to test that bottom down there. The 2 hour was able to cross as of right now, but as we test those lows, we have to see if we get a reaction. We notice a huge amount of puts actually just came in. A huge amount of puts came in as that dollar dropped. Very interesting behavior there. Something that we might have to look at over the weekend to really assess what's going on. You know, I like to take my time over the weekend, look at things, and then we talk about things like the dollar, PCC, and all those type of stuff. But huge amount of puts coming into the market. While that dollar really drops off, so that is interesting because the dollar drops off, market's higher, everything makes sense, but then a major amount of puts come in during that overall talk. And I think the big thing you have to take from it is this. I wrote one note down during that, and it was right at the beginning, and I want you to understand what this means. All right, this is what I think you need to take away from it. I think this is the most important thing that he said. I want to do this. Let's have some fun here. What do you think is the most important thing that you need to pay attention to with what he just said? He gave a bunch of fluffiness. Oh, we're so good. We beat this, we beat that. Okay. What do you think is the most important thing you need to pay attention to in that speech? I'm going to tell you what I think is, but I want to see what you guys are thinking first. It was a very short speech. If there's more talking, someone notify me so we can put that up for you guys. But for now, we're testing the high and starting to see that fade. Right? We saw the SPY go above its daily expected move. We saw some stocks get up towards their daily expected moves and then start to fall down. So I want to know what you said. Employment, he acknowledged the problem. So I wish he just would tell us what the plan is, like beating around the bush. Yeah, well, they're going to beat around the bush. They don't want to lose their job right now. That he's going for data dependence. That's part of it, shoddy. When government does that, that's bad. Here is what I think was the most important thing to take away from that, and it's one phrase that he said, and then he quickly moves on. Quote, "We do not seek more cooling in labor market conditions." I want you to think of that for a second. Think of that. I didn't see any questions coming up. It literally like cut the feed right there. So if you see it pop up again, please let me know. We'll pop it up. I just... it's like watching paint dry. But listen to that phrase again and tell me what you think. We do not seek more cooling in labor market conditions. Now, what have we noticed? And he said unemployment has remained at low levels. What have we just seen? Unemployment has actually ticked up. Oh, sick. This shirt has like little hooks, or no? Thought it did. Maybe it just broke off. Must have just broke off. So what I'm getting at here is what he is saying is everything looks great, and you hear a tiny phrase like, we do not seek more cooling in the labor market conditions. So he just told you what he is not looking for. Yeah, that's pretty much in the labor market. I was trying to get it down like almost like a summary, but that's what was said. So what does that mean you need to watch out for? Labor market conditions. That's the thing that they're really paying attention to right now. You need to start to think about unemployment again. So here's the thing. Unemployment, we just saw that tick up. He just lied. He said it's remaining at low levels. It's not. It's ticked up. Like let's just see if this is a lie. Let's try to prove it in real time. Okay, unemployment has remained low. Well, I guess it depends on what you consider low. Do you consider low 3.4? And then that ticking all the way up to 4.3? Is that still low? That's ramping up. And he just said, okay, we need to pay attention because we do not seek more cooling. Okay, well, that's fine and dandy, but you're experiencing more unemployment. So if you start to tick up after he says that phrase, you would say they are going to react in some way. So I would really be paying attention to unemployment going forward in the jobs data. Now we know the jobs data can be skewed, right? The jobs data can be revised, but for the most part, unemployment data is going to come out and be that hard number. They can't fake that as much. So if we experience more unemployment, you actually could see the Fed react, is what I'm thinking is overall what he's saying there. And I think that's an underlined under the curtain, behind the curtain type thing that he just said. I think he told you what he's not looking for, and that's why you need to pay attention to it. So what are you looking for as someone who wants to say, maybe we're going to experience weakness in the market? So you would be looking for what he is not looking for, right? You would be looking for higher unemployment. You would be looking for those type of things. Were you in markets in 2008? No, I was still in high school in 2008, unfortunately. I didn't get into trading until I was about 20 years old. So that would be 2015, 2016. Well, it should, therefore, if you see that high PCC with a very low dollar, very big reaction from the dollar going down, well, you would expect us to maybe go touch a weekly expected move. You would expect us to touch the daily. We already did. Now you'd probably expect maybe a weekly expected move. We'll see if that is going to take place. There still are huge talks of recession, and I think that's great. I think that's valid at this point. I think that's very valid. But you have to know people are going to maybe... I don't want to sound... like the only things I'm getting in my head right now are vulgar. People are going to get very excited and say, oh, this is the moment. This is when it goes up. And then it goes up, and then you see it tear back down. And you're seeing that with the dollar. Look at the shift out of dollars into assets, right? Into assets. Let's go look at gold. If people believe that inflation is still a thing, gold might be seeing a run-up, and it is. So very interesting there. Oil, commodities, some commodities performing pretty well. Good part is AMC and GME are crossing up on that 30-minute right now, so watch out for these guys giving some reversal signals. We need to adjust. Bitcoin is going up as well. Yeah, Bitcoin trying to break out, broke out, then you see this wick. That's not good. If you keep wicking and you end up turning down from here, that's a big fake out from Bitcoin. So Mara, right? Mara, if this can curl up, curl back down, you might have divergence there, but for the most part, if Bitcoin sees positivity, Mara will continue to see positivity. Palantir, not able to see a big breakout here. Very interesting. One thing that I was looking at on my other screen was IWM, seeing that great move up to what? The weekly expected move. So a lot of people piling in to some small caps here. I think that's justified with the cutting of rates, right? Lower rates is great for small caps. But what's it doing? Well, it's making a multiple point divergence right now. We'll see how this bar ends in 5 minutes. But for the most part, you would say that is a bullish thing. If you're able to, say, curl up on the 2 hour, you are. So maybe this is an extended move. We'll find out eventually going into next week. But am I going to YOLO into this right now? No, I still think I'm waiting. And volatility, even though it did turn down, it kind of gave you a little bit of, hey, we could actually continue to have volatility unless this is fully breaking down, right? Fully crossing over on the 2 hour. We'll see in the next 2 hour bar. Yeah, they're not going to talk about the jobs adjustment. He's going to tell you what, he's going to tell you the opposite. He's going to tell you the jobs data has been fantastic. He's not going to talk about that adjustment at all. He wants to keep us in the dark. But volatility, I'd really be paying attention if this 30 minutes starts to curl up. Some people might be trapped at the highs. Everyone trying to short that move, it looks like. So if those people can flip, that would be interesting. But we're not seeing that increase in the dollar anymore. We're seeing that major drop off in the dollar. So you notice how a little bit of talk, all he has to say is things are good and everyone's happy. But I have a bad feeling about this push higher right now. That's all I can say. I have a bad feeling about this little 30-minute push. That's all I can say here. I'm not going to overly get into positions or anything like that. But as we approach that weekly expected move, I might put a tiny bit more into volatility. It kind of depends. It kind of depends. You just have to look, but for the most part, I mean, 25 basis points, you'd want to say maybe 25 basis points. You think downside? I'm not thinking down. I'm thinking downside, actually. That's the way to put it. I'm thinking downside, but the signal is telling me upside. So I'm not But what did I tell you I'm looking for in order to see the market go higher? I'm looking for a bigger 2-hour pullback or range-bound behavior, some pullback with time before I make that decision, right? That's all I'm saying. So in this area, am I going to get overexcited and jump into something? No, I'm going to watch this and look at it by the end of the day and see what I think, and then maybe make a decision. Oh. I think baby girl woke up. I'm gonna go say hi. I haven't seen baby girl this morning, so I'm gonna go say hi to her real quick and I'll be right back. 2 seconds, Turkish. Don't worry, we're back. We're back. I just had to go say hi, okay? I just had to say hi real quick. Don't worry. So yeah, weekly expect to move pretty likely here. We'll see if a reversal signal kind of forms, right? If we get excited, get up to here, see that curl down, that's something to pay attention to today. But as the dollar keeps dropping and as people keep trying to short, now they can probably squeeze this thing for a little bit, so we'll see. Serve. Depends on bottom on what scale. This one maybe is a 2-hour. Yeah, 2-hour divergence. If you get that 2-hour to pop up, that'd be a good sign for a daily roll up. See that daily scale? Sorry, a little out of breath. I ran back down here. Daily down by the center line. So if this would see that swing trade, this 2-hour signal might give you that hint, and then boom, you get a part of that swing trade to the upside. So something we go over, and like this is one of those trades where you can use both of the courses to really make a decision, right? As far as it goes, 2-hour divergence down here, hey, that's the technical indicators course. And then you see the daily turn up, hey, that's the swing trade course. So both of the courses can come into this at this moment. You can kind of use one, get the good position, then use the other to say there's going to be prolonged strength. So it looks like a daily swing trade could produce, say, 2 to 3 weeks of positivity from the stock. So over time, you would just say, if this can go like that, then you have a pretty probable likelihood, right? It's pretty probable to see a price in 2 weeks that is higher than that one. Yeah, we do get that GameStop earnings soon as well. So very interesting to see that. We'll see what happens with all that going forward. AMC now up 2%, trying to cross up on the 2-hour. The 30-minute divergence is confirming soon, right? So that could confirm soon. We'll see if that's able to pop up just a little bit higher. Could be a hint of what's to come next week. We should still assume like, hey, there's still a problem going on. We'll just be nice and surprised, and we're getting in at the right moments, right? This is maybe a right moment. This is a signal you will see before that daily cross up, 2-hour crosses up. That's what you'll see before that daily cross up as well. So this is a signal to pay attention to at this moment. Seeing if more upside can come. Yeah, I'm very fishy of this move right now. Very, very fishy. I just don't like the lying, man. I just do not like it. Like that's just so blatantly obvious too. It's like, the jobs data's looked great. Unemployment is lower. Actually, unemployment is higher, and the jobs data just got revised, and all those jobs you said were really, really high are not true. So, don't like that. I just don't like that. Good morning, Orchid Tran. How you doing? Oh, I don't know why the door was opened, but Meeting's really over. That's what it seems like to me. I mean, I'll double check real quick, but for the most part, I'm like, okay. Is he really done? Yeah, that's apparently it. Yeah, that's apparently it. So that's all we get. That is the type of move that convinces me to maybe add a little bit of volatility position, but we'll see. Not necessarily saying that's a good idea. I'm just like, wow, this would be quite the fake out. As of right now, that's a very bullish reaction from the market, right? The dollar dropping down like this. We'll see if it pops up with a 2-hour divergence, okay? 2-hour divergence in this zone would be a good look. We will see going forward. But you have to say that is a major move out of cash. Where's it going? Commodities seeing pretty good stuff. Yeah, I might be trying to turn on a 5-minute. You really need to turn on a 30-minute and not turn down on this 2-hour in the next 2-hour bar. So you got 35 minutes left in this bar. So really pay attention if this 30 minutes starts to just build back some ground here. I wonder what Just Joe thinks about this. Wait, where's Just Joe? Yeah, I love that they just like told everyone, like they don't think, like they know, like they say our decisions affect communities, and then they tell you it's transitory forever, and they know that it affects you. They literally say they know it affects you. They just don't care. They just don't care. That's the blatant eye-opening thing. It's like they just don't care because they know it affects you, but they tell you it's transitory forever, and it's not. And what do they do when they say, oh yeah, we thought it was transitory? They laugh about it. They do not care. It started to on the lower ones. That's good. 5-minute divergences pop up all the time. Exactly, William. That's what I was looking for. I was like, if they ask questions, that's what I was kind of saying. Remember at the beginning when it first, I was like, look for a question about jobs data. No questions. So I don't like that. I do not like that. All right, 30-minute here for the SPY. Trying to double top. That would be a double top. If you're able to confirm back down, we might end up with some downside. We'll see. They're going to print. Yeah, maybe they're going to print before the election or something like that. They probably don't want the market to break down before the election. Everything looks to him rosy, and people cannot buy even a McDonald's. Yeah, McDonald's actually seeing a decline in their customer base for the first time in their history since they really became a thing. Since they became a franchise, they've finally experienced like one of the first years where they've seen a decline in their customers. Likely to take at least until noon or the VIX to work out the down versus oversold condition. I hope nobody is in a hurry to get their butt whooped. Go play a round of golf. I'll have the Vixens ready. I like it. I like it. I like it. We'll probably do a closing stream today because this is going to be an interesting day. I think doing a closing stream would be a lot of fun. Q is not able to match the high just yet. So you're seeing one of those times. Remember someone asking, do the SPY and the Qs have to go up at the same rate? Well, look at the current price action because the SPY is testing that high and the Qs are not. So it really looks like to me something fishy is going on here. But that is a major move down in the dollar. That's the only thing that's kind of leaning me like, that's funky. The Dow able to break out. IWM able to break out. Sitting at that weekly expected move. SPY able to break out, hitting that high, right? Just pay attention because this right here, that's a bad thing if that rolls over. So if that can happen by end of day, that'd be kind of bad. This is why I'm 100% physical silver. Yeah, I get you. I get you on that. Keeps you out of the turmoil, keeps you out of the scariness, right? Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, that is huge. That's what she said. That is huge. Someone is very bearish on that info. And I highly doubt that is retail, by the way. Retail, I don't think they have that much going on. I don't think you'll get that many people to go to the put side that fast with retail. What the hell? We're going up to what we experienced when we thought we were having another flash crash. That is wild. She never said that to me. Oh, you guys are funny. Yeah, this is gonna get interesting. We'll have to see how that plays out. As of right now, SPY starting to drop down. Wow, some big volatility there. Or some big volatility in the options data. Tesla going up a little bit towards, well, it went towards that weekly expected move up into this liquidity breakdown area. We'll see what happens with that. NVIDIA going up towards its daily expected move, 129, a little bit higher than that. But hey, you're going up towards it, so we have to pay attention to it. Are we pumping today or crash today? I'm leaning towards something is fishy. That's all I'm leaning towards at this moment. But you would say that the dollar dropping dramatically, the price action remaining positive is a good thing. And now you have a major amount of puts coming in for some reason. And I highly doubt as that happened on like a 5-minute bar, you have this reaction. That's a little something that's suspicious. I don't know if that would be retail at that point. A bad Monday is coming, and that would make sense if some stuff starts to turn up down here with these guys. IWM is still seeing that pop. Where can AMC get crazy? For this week, it is above 536. We're going to give you those updates on Sunday. So on Sunday, we'll give you those updates, Shane. But we're on a Friday right now. If you need to get above 536, I got to sneeze. Oh my goodness. That's a huge amount of puts, though. My goodness, 1.4. Money's moving to IWM. It makes sense with the rates going down, but just note here, IWM hitting a weekly expected move, so don't expect it to be rainbow and sunshine all the time. But for the most part, they could be flying to IWM commodities. It looks like, you know, oil seeing some pretty great price action, so gold seeing decent stuff, but starting to top out a little bit there too. Seeing that negativity come in, we'll see. Wow, that was, anybody else think that was a little bit crazy for a second there? Whoa, that's a big move from PCC. Double top or divergence? Well, double top and divergence. You have the double top and the divergence is holding there, Landon, right? So this would tell you if this curls back down, this can be a really weak move. Like show a lot of weakness. Sorry, I don't mean a weak move. This means that this 4-hour crossing might happen if that divergence forms, confirms, you cut this low. 4 hours saying, I got to pull back. Oh, man. When's the next time we get jobs data? That's what we need to look for, because he said jobs data. So on Monday, we'll get durable goods orders. Let me look for jobs data. On Thursday next week, we will get the growth rate, the GDP. CPI on Friday? No. I was like, that's way too soon. No, not CPI. Sorry, core PCE on Friday next week. There's some jobs data. Initial jobless claims next Thursday as well. Probably going to give you a fake number and then revise that thing, right? ISM manufacturing PMI early September. Okay, September 4th. Weirdly enough, September 4th is GameStop earnings, and September 4th you get the JOLTS job openings at the same day. And then the next day you'll get ADP employment change, initial jobless claims, and ISM services PMI. Then on September 6th, write this down in your notes, non-farm payrolls and unemployment rate. All right? Those are two very important. September 6th is what I'd mark off on my charts right now. Because he said he doesn't want to see weaker things in the job market. And unemployment rate would increase maybe and say, hey, there probably is some more weakness happening in the, or I guess cooling happening in the job market. Very, very cool. Who did it? Short Fridays. Just sold all of my GME longs and bought AMC. Watch it tank now that I'm... It always seems like that. What's that funny thing? It's like, if I buy the stock, if I hold the stock, if I sell the stock. Why did Powell not mention a cut? He didn't necessarily mention a cut. They said it is likely they do something, right? Inflation is still at 10%. Yeah, well, they just... Anything that makes the inflation look higher or look what it actually is, they'll take that out of the data. That's why, you know, used cars and things like that, they take that out of the data and things. Can you tell me what they're shorting? The PCC would say they're shorting the indices. Wasn't it like real inflation hit like 21% or something like that at some point? Yeah, so you would say the PCC going up like that, they're shorting the indices right now. Major flight to the put side. That's kind of crazy as you see crazy upside behavior here, crazy turns to the upside. You see what? You see PCC go up. That can cause more of a short squeeze, and I think that's what most people are talking about probably. Which is just interesting because as people think more of a short squeeze, that is a huge thing of puts coming in. The rate cut, divide. I think he can't because of the jobs data. I think he knows that, and so he doesn't want to fully say himself, oh yeah, rate cut. But for the most part, they put out FOMC, and most of the people on the panel there are looking for a rate cut of 25 basis points in September. That's what was told to us. You can say whatever you want, but at the end of the day, they most of the time will stick with what they're doing as far as yields and the rates go. They've said hold higher for longer. They've continued to do that. And now we get an FOMC where they say, hey, we're going to cut by 25 basis points in September. So you would expect them to cut by 25 basis points in September. But what if we get another jobs report that's really, what if we get another unemployment report on September 6th that's really bad and shows more weakness? Do they have to cut by more than 25? If they randomly switch it and now they have to cut by 50 or something like that, 50 basis points, that's when you should have a little bit of your little warning sign flashing just for a second there. Wow, interesting stuff there. They're going to give a jobs number that's like better than it's going to cause some positivity. Yeah, we saw that, and then we get the revision and we kind of get our eyes woken up, right? We go, whoa, that's a pretty big revision. Okay, we've been lied to. Bitcoin's giving up the highs. Let's go look at Bitcoin real quick. Ooh, really wanting to give up those highs. So as you get the breakout moment, you don't close in that area, right? We don't close above, we close flat right on it, and then we start to drift down. So watch out if these things start to roll over 2-hour chart just crossed up. Watch out if that creates that, well, divergence point. I mean, honestly, if the 2-hour just rotates back down, you should expect negativity. Right now, you should still expect positivity from the 2-hour chart. I like to say that until that rolls over and really confirms on your MACD, or at least, you know, RSI, because it's a little quicker. Palantir still struggling to break out here. Something fishy is going on, guys. But it's not the fishiness we're used to, right? We're having a high PCC, dollar down, market up. Like, this kind of makes sense for more of a squeeze, actually. But at the same time, we're seeing some things that we don't really like coming back down within what? The daily expected move. So there you go, daily expected move coming back down within that. See if that's able to drop. See if we can cross back down today. That would be a huge, huge, huge signal. It's just crazy to me because the dollar continues to drop. That was some funny stuff, huh? Does it matter to the rally chasers? Nope, the strategy worked like a charm. I guess you could read into it that way. That would make some sense. Short Fridays, I want to make wait, did I say thank you for the $5 donation? I'm going to say it again. Thank you for the $5 donation. And I promise you, I'm going to take like maybe I'll get, oh my word. Okay, things are starting to look a little sketchy. Haircut looks good, man. Thank you, Z-Shotty. Really appreciate it. I tried to like grow everything out real bushy and stuff before I went to see my friend, because she hasn't cut my hair in like months because she was pregnant. She's 2 months out. It's fun to talk about kids back and forth. Every single one's different, but very cool to see this start to turn down. Remember, you need this to confirm back down, but now you're chopping out all the price action from this morning. It's almost gone. If you can come back down to that gap, it's almost gone. Dow starting to give it up. IWM not giving it up as much for IWM. SPY really giving it up. I'm worried about tech stocks. Oh, that's an ugly look. We'll see. We did not confirm the upside on tech stocks, by the way. So or at least the Qs, right? The Qs, we did not confirm the upside. Apple, we did. Watch out. That could be a double top on a 30 minutes. Tesla confirmed it. Not able to bust up to the highs, going to the breakdown area and starting to crash back down. We'll see what happens. Amazon, not able to confirm it. NVIDIA did confirm it, went up to the highs, fell a little bit short, and turned back down. AMD, not able to go there, just going to the overall, I would say, breakdown area, right? So we're retesting some key levels. Meta, this is one that I was worried about because of the daily side of things. If this daily starts to roll around for Meta, yes, it can be just a pullback, but you got a bunch of stuff that's saying there's some weakness in this move, so you could experience a pretty decent pullback. So a little bit worried about Meta for now. 2 hour, look at that, rejection divergence as of right now for the 2 hour chart for Meta. We'll see if that produces a daily crossover. Barn out of your 460 puts, huh? Still, just a 30-minute crossing can tell us a lot of information here. We're not necessarily seeing that dollar rise up rapidly or anything, but it looks a little different than usual, doesn't it? Fiat toilet paper, yeah. Palantir down 0.5% as of right now. Looking at all the divergences across the way, it looks like Palantir really starting to suffer, curling down on this 2 hour. Now see if it can break that low. You might see a drop on the 4 hour crossing here. Look at that. Starting to cross down. Things not looking the prettiest for Palantir. Ooh, things really not looking pretty for Palantir. Let's look at the daily scale. Daily scale, the flat divergence up here, you don't really have it on the MACD. You have it on the RSI, a little bit down here for the RSI. It would tell you more of a pullback is coming, maybe a pullback to the 20, down towards 29, down towards 30, I'm sorry. But remember on this, we said that 30 level would be nice, like right in between here, 29 to 30. 29, 30. It's a good little area. Weekly candle for Tesla. Let's go take a peek, see what we think. Weekly, it looks like indecision from Tesla. Indecision from Tesla. Maybe it needs to go down and find more buyers. Right? We can look at 4-hour charts and say, look at this. This would be a great like downturn. Boom. And then you get that divergence point. That would be a nice look. Again, you have to pay attention to these type of signals. But if this curls down, that's not a good sign. That could just fall through the floor. So we just want to say that's bad. If it turns back around, that's good. Looks like a lot of things want to start to curl over on 4 hours. I don't use 4 hours too often for trade setups, but I will look at higher time frames to see what is going on. Because if we start getting confirmation of higher time frames, that momentum can really start to pick up. Pounds tier still trying to cut the low at this moment. GME kind of rotated down as well, not able to curl up. AMC trying to roll down after curling up on that 30 minutes. So managing trades might be the way for now. We'll see. We got a lot of time until the end of the day. UVXY paying off. Yeah, it kind of is, isn't it? Fixed 30-minute is close. Ooh, let's see that. Oh my goodness, let's go. Okay, so this is what we want to pay attention to. Key thing here that's very, very cool. 2 hour is not crossed over. What do we say? More of a squeeze if this 2 hour can cross. 2 hour cannot cross and the 30-minute curls up. That would be a signal that the 2 hour is not going to cross just yet. So if that 30-minute goes up, all you're looking for here is, does it create that divergence and cross down? Does it do that? That's what I would be looking for from volatility if it's going to subside for a short-term top. But for now, if that 30-minute needs to curl up to really see maybe some selling in the overall market continue. Wow. Yeah, and maybe it's a NVIDIA saves the market. They usually like to use Apple for that. But since NVIDIA earnings and NVIDIA is such a popular stock, maybe NVIDIA saves the market. Yeah, I'm an adult. So I'm drinking Code Red in the morning. It was my birthday yesterday. My wife got me a box of Code Red. So yeah, I'm going to drink it. Huge crash on Monday. You're calling it now, M7. Okay, let's do this. Let's have some fun. Let's just do some polling. Let's poll with you guys. Let's see. Studio. What did I go to? Go live, right? Don't I just go to this? Click on this. Need my bit rate changed apparently. This, start a poll. All right, let's start a poll for fun. There you go, guys. There's your poll. Don't drink that poison. It's my only poison I allow myself to drink, okay? I have an addiction. I used to have LAN parties when I was in high school and college. Who remembers LAN parties? Anybody do those? VIX not fully confirming up on the 30-minute. LOL. Yup. Had water parties? Damn, that's sick. What gamer were you? I was really good at Halo 1. So we used to link up like, I think like we'd link up like 4 Xboxes, 2 people per screen, and do 4v4 on Halo 1 back in the day when Halo 1 was like huge. Yeah, it was sick. We used to get in so much trouble from our parents. My friend's mom used to come downstairs every single night at like 4 a.m. and be like, why the f are you guys still awake? All right, let's see this poll. Poll right now is saying, ooh, very 50-50 on it. Very 50-50. 36 votes. Looks like 18 and 18. Ooh, starting to lean towards a no. Microsoft is tanking. Yeah, tell me what's going on, guys. Oh my word. Microsoft got the retest. Look at this. Look at the rejection 30-minute here for Microsoft. Very, very cool. If you were catching that, boom to the downside. Hey, that's a great little play. That can roll over 2 hours. 2 hour already rolled over. You had divergence with, well, you had divergence on the MACD with the 2 hour. 2 hour curled down here. And boom, negativity. So, wow. Very big move down here. We'll see if that daily scale can rotate down. Might just mean we need to go find a better base. But wow. That's a big move, man. We work through something logically involving PCC. It's very difficult right now, as that is just majorly high. I would more read into this like that is a rapid reaction, all within a 5-minute bar. So what that tells me is within 5 minutes. You think within 5 minutes retail did that? You think within 5 minutes all of retail at the same time bought puts? I'm a little skeptical on it. I'm more likely thinking that retail got faked out on this or something, but they will lose money if the price goes up. That's why we're trying to read into it for the most part, but we got to see, do you think this dollar moving down was a lot of retail at the same time buying? It could mean there's confusion in the institutions as well. It could mean in some institutions are buying something dramatically, or they're buying safety things like gold, silver, commodities, what? Maybe even bonds, TLT, as they're hearing for rate cuts, right? Those type of things. So that could tell us something, but I just think it would be a little bit unlikely to see all of retail go to the put side within a 5-minute period. Or maybe the world knows that we're printing and the dollar is going to get weaker. Maybe they think they're going to start printing again to save everything. Maybe big banks are entering. Let's just look at some banks. Banks starting to run up here. 2 hour divergence is forming. Really bottoming out though from that wick. Still experiencing strength as of right now. But the 10-year yield dropping down even further here tells you they might need to, like, that tells you the bond market's saying they might need to cut rates even harder. Nancy Pelosi's husband. Oh, that makes a little more sense. SVIX for the win, VIX down. VIX not able to confirm that 30-minute upside. That's a big deal because you can start to curl down on a 2 hour chart on the next bar. So the or a couple bars from now, but you'll see this, the 2 hour looking very, very close here. So the next bar is going to really matter. How much lower can AMC go? AMC, it's been sticking in that same general area. I'd just say right around $5 is probably where it sits for the day. You can always see these little reactions. What if all that cash is going into AMC and GME and we're just not seeing it hit the tape? Meta, I do not like that look. Palantir back up to about break even. All right, let's just focus on the SPY for just a little bit here. See if we can confirm a signal soon. We're gonna be hopping off in about 30 minutes and we will be live for the end of the day. For the last hour of the day, make sure you have your notifications on, make sure you are subscribed. What did DJT do? Did it experience weakness too? It is experiencing more weakness. We need that 30 minutes to get back into it. Yes, it has, Legini, and I think that's where, you know, it's just like, okay, we just know about it now. We know it's manipulated. It's going to be a rough one. Sold out for the low of the day. I mean, if you like that amount, I mean, what I like to say on Fridays too is like, if you have a winning play, don't ruin your weekend or something like that. You know what I mean? It's like kind of up to you, but me, some of the time I just like go, hey, if I'm feeling hesitant over a weekend, I might just like chill. That way I just don't ruin my weekend and I don't worry about it, overanalyze, and not spend time with my family. Banks are going under. They can go under at any moment, really. Oh shit, I got this thing on. I don't really like that look. 2 hour can curl up, maybe positivity, but the direction right now, you're in a 30-minute downtrend for sure. Daily just crossed back down for this guy too, so you could experience a time where you go all the way back down to 229. Yeah, just remember, guys, if this is going to get ugly, do you guys remember who remembers the signal if this is going to get ugly? We're going to end the poll in just a couple of minutes here. Looks like it's pretty 50-50. But the signal to pay attention to, I know someone might have commented it, but if this daily starts to cross down, I'd be a little bit worried, all right? I'd be a little bit worried, okay? And then we're going to get a bunch of data next week. So this could be a slow trickle down over time, or it could just be that 4 hour, 2 hour curls down, curls back up type of deal. So, but are we even heading in the downward direction is kind of what we're thinking right now, right? This is curled up on the MACD. So technically positivity is the most likely option from the SPY at this moment. Then you would say, as you're outside of this daily expected move, yeah, you can land back within it, but just see if that thing curls back up. And yeah, remember, sideways price action is still a move as well. That's a good point to make. The 2 hour, right, keeps going, sideways, sideways, chop, 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 chop. And then we end up curling up over time, and we're down by this center line. That's when we want to pay attention. So once that 2 hours down here, if it gets down there, that's when I'll be paying attention. The dollar is bottoming. Looking at the dollar, looking at this little 2 hour divergence that's forming now, because that can turn up the daily chart for sure. So we'll look at that. But right now it's just screaming down. 2 hour signal, what we want to pay attention to. If we see a rapid move to cash, that's what we'll pay attention to for the most part. Is XLU making, I know that this was similar. I do not like this look from XLU. But, all right, let's close down this vote. Looks like we have, all right, we have 52% say yes, we could experience a Black Monday, and 47% say no, most likely no Black Monday happening for us. You think the markets might not open next week? I'm going to look at the news all weekend. That's a key thing to understand as well. So, is this overall potential for bad things to happen with a signal like this? Yes. Is a bigger pullback able to happen from this? Yes. Is a crash able to happen? Well, if it's pretty escalated, yes. Okay. So what does that mean I need to do over the weekend for my personal life? Well, I might want to pay a little bit more attention to what's going on out there. Are we experiencing something with monkeypox? Are we experiencing something with war? Are we experiencing something that can cause some kind of unemployment? Are we experiencing a banking crisis? Are we seeing banks shut down over the weekend or something like that? Those are all the things that I would be aware of this weekend. That's what you want to pay attention to in your real life around these signals. But it's not to say they have to happen. It's just good to be aware of those things, okay? That's more what I'm getting at. It's just good to be aware of what's going on in your real life to know how to, you know, we talk about reacting to signals in the market, but how many people are reacting to the signals that are happening around you in your everyday life, right? Are you going to the grocery store today when you see this signal? Are you going to the grocery store to make sure you have some water, make sure you have things that you need? Like, that's kind of what I would say at this point. Not saying, oh, prep for something absolutely insane, but it's always good to just be like, okay, I'm going to buy a little extra case of water. I might buy a little bit of like formula or something if you got a kid, and that type of thing can go a long way. So the world is dumping the dollar, and that will continue. We'll see, but if people have a reason to get out of assets, the easiest thing for them to do is go into cash, just so you're aware. It doesn't mean you're not right. It just means that if people are dropping the dollar at a lower rate as people are getting out of assets and going into the dollar, that would be something to pay attention to. It just means the dollar can still go up. Maybe you just don't see it go up crazy, crazy, crazy high. Stock up just to be safe. Yeah, it's kind of the just in case mentality, a mentality that I like to have. If you stuck around for the end of yesterday's stream, I showed you my AR-15 for a second. Remember, I don't know much about guns, but I know how to be safe with my gun. That's the big thing. Better have a little more than not enough. Very good point. Very good point. I have plenty of stuff. Thankfully, me and my buddy got together last weekend, me and my prepper buddy. So we kind of rediscussed our plan and stuff. Is that YouTube rules allowed? I mean, I'm pretty sure, as long as I'm not like pointing it at you guys doing that kind of, if I just show it to you, I don't think it's a big deal. I'm not trying to promote guns in any way. I have my reasons for having it. I think I like the fact that we can use it for protection, but yeah. Doesn't mean be a hoarder. Exactly. Like, I don't want to be hoarding things. My buddy has all the seeds. He has all the water straws and things like that. So we'll be fine with that. And then we do have our stipulation for where we would go if things start to pop off for whatever reason. Now, more likely, we're going to see oils popping off. Anyone have, what's that ammo company and people had? What's that ammo company that was really popping off yesterday? Can someone remind me? You just can't show a full auto. Oh, okay, okay. Get out the city, says M7. I'll make sure to notify my buddy. There's high probability for a few things. Lockdown due to monkeypox, EMP, and I would say, what's the third one? Probably geopolitical, so like a global war or something. I did actually take out a little bit of cash yesterday. Yeah, so we got that too. But will cash be that useful soon? We'll see. Crazy stuff though, right? Dow still sitting at those highs. Very, very good. IWM getting even higher up. So what's happening with AMC and GME? Still crossed up with that signal for AMC. We'll see if some good things happen with that. But volatility, we're looking if this can cross up by the end of the day. Yeah, it's just, I get what you're saying. See, I understand what you're saying, Maria, because I'm that way too. So I totally get it. And Maria, I don't know if you saw, if you were on at the beginning of the stream, but I bought some treats because you got money for Bruce or Alan, and so I got some of their treats out for you. I mentioned you. The East dumped the dollar. Well, I would say you can't stop if, like, you know, I think it was like Saudis and stuff are dropping the dollar and things like that. POW? That's right, it was POW. Let's see this one, because this one was ramping. Still ramping too a little bit. We'll see if that has a big breakout moment. Great divergence there for this guy. Well, technically my wife is Ecuadorian, and she's Ecuadorian, Argentinian, and Italian. So actually, weirdly enough, the places where she could get dual citizenship would be Ecuador and Italy are the two places. My thoughts on the SPY are, I'm going to watch this 30-minute like a freaking hawk. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to watch this 30-minute and be like, wow, can this get ugly? Because if that rolls down, that's not going to be a good sign. Dollar's still dropping, so maybe M7 does have an argument here. as the SPY drops with the dollar. Now, sometimes it'll drop with the dollar initially, and then you'll see that reverse back up because people, you know, do put dollars into things like TLT at first. Get that Italiano. God, I can't wait. I hope I have, I hope the world doesn't go to crap so I can have another kid, so I can have a boy. Because we have a very Italian name for him. I'm picked out. Cash is okay for 24 hours. You have thoughts on USD Japan dropping, carry trade implosion? Well, the only thing that I have to say about that is, you know, the correlation USD and Japan going like this normally causes the market to suffer. Okay, but recently we've seen this happen and we've seen this start to happen. So that's where I'm a little bit worried for some kind of reaction to that. But for the most part, I'm just reading into the actual signals in the market right now. No, it's all right, Maria. It's probably because I said she's, you know, speaks Spanish and stuff like that. You're all in America, you're probably always going to think Mexican. Civil unrest, yeah, that's one thing that's why I've been shooting a lot, just in case like things get really crazy. Like you thought toilet paper was crazy for C19. Wow. You thought that was crazy. What about if there's the same thing but an EMP hitting at the same time? People are going to go for more than just toilet paper. But that's all stuff that potential to have. It's not happened yet, right? We just need to pay attention. That's all it says. Ready by this afternoon to live stream. I'll jump right through the internet. The VIX trading computers at Goldman. All right, so Just Joe will have some info on the VIX for us this afternoon. I'm pumped about it. I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew. I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew. Yeah, my wife does not like Mexican food too much, but when you don't have it for a while, she wants it. You know what I mean? I think we just got to see what's going to happen after today. I think today's a wild day. I thought it was going to be interesting considering we have a smaller range in the market, but we have big ranges for things like Tesla and things. So this rapid move up, rapid move down, it doesn't make sense. There's more implied volatility in this. Rapid move up, we'll see if this gets a rapid move down, but there is implied volatility in this. AMD, but we do have some big implied volatility in those three stocks right there. Apple giving it up. We'll see if this can cross back down. Kind of looking double top. Burlington's still going up. Ooh, well, it might not be going up for too much longer. Might not be going up for too much longer. Looks like you got a 2-hour divergence, 30-minute divergence at the same time. So 30-minute crosses down. That's not going to be a good sign. But right now it's still positive. So you just want to watch out for that signal. Then you can experience some kind of drop. At least higher probability of a drop. Amazon flipping back to positive for a second. We'll see if that 30-minute can turn up. AMC up 1.63%, up to $5 again. Dollar still dropping, so a lot of people piling in some cash somewhere. Most of the time that just means, hey, they're going into the market. A lot of people believe in maybe there's a short squeeze coming. No, it's still at 1.3. Still at 1.3. So nothing there. If anything, it says puts, while dollar is just heading lower and lower. That would tell you that these guys might be wrong. But it's just a worrisome sign for this. 5-minute little divergence would be nice. 15-minute can't turn around. Look at that craziness on the RSI. Heat map for banks is green. Do they know something? Possibly. Or are they pumping before a big bad event? Who knows? At this point, positivity is still the most likely option for the SPY. Looks like it's stuck in the barcode. Yeah, it's because it's and there's two things with that still. It barcodes all the time, but it especially does it on Fridays. If it tries to break above $5, it's gonna land somewhere between, $4.95 and $5.05. So that's just what happens. You can count on me to get her done. Get her done. The only thing I don't like is the 2 hour. That's what I don't like. That tells me squeeze. Dollar just dropped off. That tells me squeeze. PCC really high. That says squeeze a little bit to me. So you're seeing a lot of squeeze signals. Dow up 1.1%. Look at that bar. So I just do not trust this too much. Some dental ones. I gave them the small dental one. We got them big, like those bone-looking ones too. My wife's very adamant about not giving them the stuff that's bad for them, so she would know more about it. But I just gave them a couple of dental sticks for their teethies. Huge correction. Hi, Lucas. Bought the indicator diversion option strategy. It's a great tool. Love it. It helped me very much. But the swing trading course is a different one or an add-on. It's a different one. It's just to give you the actual very clear entries and how to treat a swing trade. So one is really going in depth. The other, we talk about the MACD and how you need to like go into it mentally and things like that. So it is a little bit different with the MACD and the RSI, just looking at where those are sitting. And then it just gives you those entries, gives you those exits. So it's just a blatant, like, here's how to swing trade. It's not necessarily teaching you all the things like that first indicator course. Is teaching you a little bit about how you need to think about things to swing trade, but that's how it is. Both of them together for that price is very, very good, because then you'll see trades like we're seeing now where you see that 2 hour divergence, you can get in early and then treat it like a swing trade if that daily can cross up. Yeah, I'm trying to think what I want to do here. Because as of right now, it's like we could see something crazy. We could also see a turn down. So seeing if that hourly could turn up, that might give us a little more clarity. Just worried about this little double top we could experience. Thanks for the tip on POW is moving quickly. Yeah, that's why I'm a little bit worried that we're going to see some kind of thing that increases ammo very soon. Might have to go buy some ammo today. I got to go buy some more 5.56 rounds. I shot like 100 rounds with my rifle just a couple days ago. Why is the crypto not pumping while the market is crashing? Crypto kind of struggling, really. Struggling to break through, right? These signals still look okay. On the bigger time frames, right, you'd say 2 hour crossed up. This still looks decent, but that wick is a very worrisome sign. I mean, look at the last time we wicked like that, boom, ended up down over time. So time to just be a little bit cautious, I would say. Just be aware of things. Make sure to do things in your real life, right? I'm gonna wait here. There's no way I don't wait to see what happens for a little bit. You're going to close down trading. once it's sighted. Yeah, the only thing I didn't get to do was zero it. I didn't get to zero it because my range is too short. My range only goes to like 30 yards. I need to extend that out a little bit, but I might go with my buddy to an outdoor range over the weekend or something. Qs are not seeing that positivity. Remember, Qs are what I thought could experience more weakness than the SPY, like stuff in the SPY, Q, like tech stocks in general. Dollar's still crashing. Where is that money going? I'm going to try to look around, see if any of my options monitor people can help me find out what's going on here. Thank you guys so much for joining, by the way. Thank you guys for liking, subscribing. You guys are awesome. I really appreciate it. Helps out the stream a lot. Let me go over into some stuff. Just see what's happening out there. SPY the Q. Everyone's saying dovish. Puts are going positive for the moment. That's true. A lot of people looking into this too. I'm going like this monthly, then looking at this and saying it could be some kind of hammer or something like that. If you really look at it from this type of look, you could be like, this is a monthly reversal candle. It is. It's not the strongest one, but it is some kind of reversal candle. Is that happening in the market? Well, this is a signal we might see. So I think this 30 minutes is the first time to pay attention. It can extend though. Let's look here. This guy has beta. There you go. Ow. All right. Yeah, you do have gold rising, so oil's still kind of rising there. Everything's inflating is what you would say. Everything's inflating. This is where I want to see that little 5 minute. This little 5 minute here, I'm paying attention. I'm going to stay on just a little bit longer here. Let me use the restroom so I can stay on just a little bit longer, guys. And BK, we'll go look at NVIDIA in a second. Let me just go use the restroom real quick. Too much coffee and too much doozers. And here we go. Powell. Interesting. All right, sorry. Just paying attention to this little signal here, this little 5-minute signal. I just want to see if this 5-minute signal proves anything real quick. Seeing over on the SPY, little 5-minute rejection while volatility holds up just a little bit, right? Volatility kind of making like a double bottom while the SPY not able to reach that level. So paying attention to volatility, seeing if that can start to pop up right now. That's why I wanted to stay live with you guys just a little bit longer. NVIDIA, real quick, by the way, we need to look at NVIDIA for a couple people, right? NVIDIA crossing up, you just have to be aware that if this crosses down, right now it says positivity, right? So I understand that, but we talked about the risk to reward, risk, right? So you're thinking to yourself, or I guess it's more like reward risk, but that still is a big difference. So you're like, if this 30-minute curls up, that's what I can see. But if it curls back down right here, well, that's what I can see. So like double, triple what you could see to the upside is what you could see to the downside. So from a positioning standpoint, me right now, this is kind of why I'm sitting on the sidelines, just moving sideways, waiting for this 2 hour to get even deeper and deeper. That would be nice. I'm not going to try to overtrade or anything like that. VIX is down a lot. It means people are running to the call side a month out. The dollar is dropping down, meaning people are, probably investing, but it is making a 2 hour signal here. So watch out if that reverses. Volatility for the time being, 2 hour crosses down, bad. You have 1 hour and 40 minutes for that. That's why I wanted to stay on for just a little bit here and see if we can figure out, is this little 5-minute divergence trying to tell us something? And that's all I'm trying to see here. I'm not trying to see like, oh, is this going to be a major trade setup and this and that? I just want to see if I can see a signal that is going to reverse around that 30-minute for volatility. You think they hit new lows today? I think that that's probable. I think it's probable to fill the gap today, but it's also, this is why it's like, do you take a trade seeing signals like these? When you do have the dollar dropping rapidly and everyone has puts, it means you still have the potential to squeeze. You have the potential to squeeze. The better thing to most likely do is to look at what the stock market looks like at the end of the day, towards that last hour, and see how people are positioned, and then make a decision with the signals we see. Today, low of day is this wick right here. So we do have a low of 558.35. So 558.35 is the low. Q's a little bit lower, right? Ari's having a great time up there right now. Seriously, M7, I've never seen you talk like this. You're really confident on this Monday madness. Kava? What did Kava do? Whoa, another upward move. Holy, 30-minute curl up and still going. Yo, what? Hey, look at that. Daily swing trades pay off, guys. You're asking, hey, what's that swing trade course got in it? Well, it has all the indications. If you miss out on signals down here, well, okay, this thing crossed up, maybe manage, and then right here, 84 was the time for this. That usually means some positivity for possibly 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, it'll be a little bit higher. Yeah, BK, anytime, man, dude. Tesla resistance or something else? Well, Tesla had some implied volatility in it for the day, looking for if this 30-minute can roll back down. That would mean a continuation of the negative trend that has just begun. So that next pull down will really confirm that negative trend. So what I want to pay attention to with Tesla is the fact that, hey, it went up towards about 221.50. We can go look at our daily moves and things like that are over on Patreon and know that daily expected move was about 222. So you went right up towards that daily expected move and started to resist. So that is a resistance point right above you, right around that 222 level. So literally like right, even a little lower, right there. It's pretty much where that resistance is supposed to come in, came in a little earlier. So pay attention if the 30 minutes starts to rotate down. NVIDIA does have a little bit of growth left in this, I would say, if it can break to the upside, go up to like a 131, 132 level. AMC now up 2.24%, and we got a lot of random stuff popping. 30-minute divergence did confirm here. Now, this is obviously they fight against the stock, especially on Fridays, so just note that. But the 2-hour is curling up, and that can really help you out next week as this daily looks like it wants to break to the upside. Okay? So that is something to pay close attention to. 2-hour is breaking to the upside. Very, very cool. Look how that performs by the end of the day. It's a great bar. We'll see if that is able to cross up a daily chart. GameStop, 2-hour needs to curl up here and good things can start to happen. Look at GameStop options. Let's see how they're priced at. Probably not that worth. We'll just hold the damn thing, right? Do I think it breaks 563 today? It would make sense. Do I think it happens? Yeah, that's hard to say. It would make sense if it happened, but do I think it happens? I don't want to say if I think it could happen, because the thing is, I always think anything can happen. That's kind of how I do it, right? I think anything can happen. That's why I'm aware of both sides. Absolutely beautiful on the VIX now. Shouldn't be able to trade below 1575 and leave new signal for a lower low is due. Well, volatility, looking at this guy here, just paying attention to how that 30-minute could rotate up, seeing if that 5-minute gains some steam right now. Five-minute divergence on Dow at the same time. So volatility, this might actually have something to say here. We'll see if that turns back up. Mainly just 30-minute curls up though. Just aware that there's some 5-minute signals happening there. IWM's still going. Does this mean AMC and GME have a good shot? Look at AMC, it's going, man. If Roaring Kitty never tweets again, would AMC and GME be dead? No. Roaring Kitty does not control the price of the stock. Just so you're aware, Roaring Kitty has nothing to do with the price of the stock. Roaring Kitty buying a bunch of the stock has nothing to do with the stock going up, the stock price going up. It doesn't. Because if he buys a ton of stock in it, they can just do their funky stuff and manipulate it down. So who's the one actually in charge of the stock? The person that can manipulate it. So you would say market makers and short sellers are in control of the stock. When if the stock were to go to 10,000 per share tomorrow, Whose fault would that be? It would be the short sellers' fault. They're the ones who have created all of the fake shares. They're the ones who have shorted those fake shares. They're the ones who have borrowed those fake shares multiple times over. It's literally, they're going to tell you it's retail's fault. They're going to tell you it's Roaring Kitty's fault. Have some common sense. If the problem wasn't there, then it would not go to 10,000. So who created the problem? Short sellers. I don't know necessarily if it's even going, if anything's going to happen on Monday. M7 just seems a little bit confident with it. I'm just saying this is a time where we pay attention, and this could mean bad things can happen over the weekend. That's what this signal here means. That's what this signal here means. Now, it's not what I'm leaning towards. I'm still leaning towards, hey, maybe we pop down and then we pull back up. That's what I'm leaning towards, right? But you can see that the daily scale has a signal here, and if this is too weak, that can confirm, and that weakness can continue. That's all we're getting at. So it's not necessarily something bad is going to happen by Monday. There's potential. There's potential for something bad to happen by Monday. So am I going to take big ass trades because of that? No. I'm going to play the signals, and if the signals show me weakness, okay, I'll take that weakness play. If the signals then base out and show me strength, okay, I'll do that. I'll do the strength play. That's it. Just going with the signals. That's all I'm doing. If we experience a crash, awesome. Then my short play where I was looking for a pull, or my volatility play where I was looking for a pullback in the market, turns into a very beneficial trade, and I will take profit on it. Yeah, I think end of day will clear things up, because now you're reaching towards 10:30, or you're reaching towards the lunchtime, where a lot of the time you can see DUT. That's why I was really paying attention. I wanted to stay on for just a little bit longer to see if volatility was going to be able to turn back up just very quickly with that little 5-minute signal going on in here. But you get those 5-minute signals all the time. It just means you have potential for a bottom there. Doesn't mean it has to be a bottom. The way you confirm this more as a bottom is if you see that 30-minute curl up above the center line. You notice this. That's when you know the confirmed bottom. Okay, high potentially confirmed bottom, high potential to go up. And that's what you're looking for here. Cross up, high potential to go up in volatility. And I'm not sitting here and going to go, oh, I'm looking for a crash. I think a crash would be fantastic for one of my positions. But all I'm saying is I think the 2 hour still has room to pull back. And in that pullback, if I see reversal signals in it, then I will take that play and go back the other way. It's being a trader. A trader is just that. You trade things back and forth based on the signals. I read somewhere a day or two ago that silver deficit is coming because mining is getting less, but demand is raising. M7 might have something to say about that. Warren Buffett has his money in cash and some other stuff. He's bought, oh shoot, what the heck was it that he was buying a lot of? You guys always have me look at it. What the heck was that stock that he was buying a lot of? They told them they would probably be the Vixens done by then. Okay, so 1 o'clock. Well, 1 o'clock for you, so maybe noon. Well, here's what I'll do for now. As we're watching this develop, we have a lot of things to pay attention to. So what I'll do for now is I'm going to pop off. I'm going to go get lunch with my girls. And then I will be back here an hour, if not a little bit earlier before the close. If things look a little bit sketchy, I will get on a little bit earlier, okay? So for now, we're going to end the morning stream for right now. Pay attention to your signals. 30 minutes roll over, that can mean bad things. 30 minutes roll up in volatility, that can mean bad things. But for now, you are kind of seeing squeeze-like behavior where the dollar is dropping really rapidly, people still trying to short the high. So this could be a short squeeze moment actually to pay attention to. But we want to be aware of the reversal signals in this area. It could mean some sketchy things over the weekend, so you don't want to ruin your weekend or anything like that. Dollar has a reversal signal that's forming. We'll see if that confirms. But for the most part, I think we need to see this towards the end of the day. I think we need some more price action to see what is going on. We need more reactions in the PCC. We need to see what the dollar is doing. So I will be back later this afternoon. I really appreciate you guys being here, liking, subscribing. I had some fun with you guys today. Thank you for the donations. So because of those donations, I will obviously be coming back this afternoon to give you guys another live stream towards the end of the day. So everyone, give a big thank you to Short Fridays, J7, Adventures with Shogun Solo, and Short Fridays once again with a big $50 donation. So thank you guys so much, and I will be back in just a moment. All right, just go grab some lunch, refuel, kind of take a break from looking at charts, and then come back with a fresh mindset. And I think that would be awesome. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in a little bit. All right, peace. Peace.